Hi everybody, happy Friday, hope you're having a great day. A few things to update you on today. First, let's start from a non-COVID-19 perspective and talk about Epicor 10.2. We're working hard and only 1 week away from going live in Epicor 10.2, something that we've been working on for quite some time in planning and testing, but we are just a few days away, just 5 business days away from going live, and I know we still have a lot more testing to do. So those of you, the 15 or 20 or so who have been tapped to participate in the testing, I implore you, I'm asking you to please put the time in. We do not want to have an issue when we go live. We don't want to find out later that we have problems, especially because we didn't test internally. So test, test, test. We want to get 10.2. Those of you that are going through the Epicor training, keep going, keep focusing, play in it, focus on it, get comfortable with it, because the investment we're making in this time to accelerate Epicor and accelerate our use of it is really important. I want to make sure we come out positively for that. Switching gears a little bit, Robin was in today, very helpful with what we had going on here this morning. And as you'll see, those of you that are in the building, there are little tables at the entrances with more hand sanitizer. So we've got a plentiful supply. We've got small containers with the push tops. Use the hand sanitizer. We have it in a bunch of areas for your use. Do not take it home. Do not fill up your little containers to bring home. That's for use here on site. So Robin, thank you for getting that all set up. I spoke yesterday about the guest visitor we're having today. Senator Blumenthal arrived at about 11 o'clock. His crew showed up about 10:30, as well as Channel 61 and WFSB. Channel 61 is planning to air it tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm not sure what time WFSB will, and I don't know how big of a clip it will be, but it was really interesting. The senator made some really nice comments about HAPCO being on the forefront of this, and he is going to push to get these tests and other tests available for essential workers. He said, I'll take you back to Washington. So we'll see what happens, but it was nice to have him here. It was nice to hear him make the comments publicly about HAPCO being on the forefront of planning and protecting. So thanks again for everything you guys are doing and all the adherence to it. I wish I could have done it in a manner today where we could have had everybody together and see and hear it, but obviously with all the protocols that are in place, we couldn't do that, and we didn't want to let him in the facility, nor did he actually want to come in the facility either, just trying to stay on top of everything. So I've got some pictures that Robin took. I'll add some pictures here so you can kind of see a little bit about what the setup was and what we have. In the videos, Senator Blumenthal's office, his head of communications, told me that he will send me the video feed that he recorded so I can get that on a future video as well. But curious, let me know your thoughts, let me know what you think about it. Carol did great, Robin did great, and we also had Dominic Cuso, our rep from Microgen DX, here as well. So some good brand awareness for sure for HAPCO as well as Microgen DX. And then lastly, as you know, I'm continuing to follow the phased approach of opening up the state, and the governor came out with some additional guidance yesterday. There are actually 7 criterias for phase 1 to happen before we can go to phase 2. So I just want to walk you through those 7 phases so you can have an idea of not just what they are, but where we stand associated with that, because May 20th is not that far away, right? It's just under 2 weeks away, and I really want the state to start opening up, and especially for companies like ours to be able to have additional things that we do. So the one I've mentioned multiple times in videos, step 1 or criteria 1 is the 14-day decline in hospitalizations. We've already achieved that. We're down 30% from the peak, and we hit the 14 days, I think 2 days ago, maybe 3. So that's good news. So criteria 1 is done, as long as it stays that way. Criteria 2 is actually kind of interesting to me. Very, very timely considering what we're talking about. It says increased testing available, with the state to have capacity to do 42,000 tests per week in under a 48-hour turnaround. So it's very interesting to me that there are only a couple tests out there that have under 48-hour turnaround, the saliva test being one of them, and some of the Abbott lab tests, and they're working very hard on the nasal swabs to be done quicker as well. Some of those are getting quick, but 42,000 per week. And so there's a lot of work to be done, especially with getting the supplies that are needed for nasal swabs and finger pricks, or getting the word out for saliva tests. I'm really hopeful that what we just did today is a big step in getting this element up to the next level, because right now we are not close in the state for this criteria to be met. Number 3 is the sufficient contact tracing. I mentioned earlier about, in a previous video, about the partnership the state has with Microsoft in developing an app with a platform, and that is live and working. When I say live, it's up and running. The pilot starts happening next week, and right now they're looking for volunteers, to recruit volunteers and to get training underway so that the contact tracing can take place. Number 4 is protecting the vulnerable populations, nursing homes, direct care, correction staff, offenders, at-risk communities, and so making sure that there's protection, whether that means testing or what. I've got to get a little bit more definition of exactly what that means, but right now they're looking to protect vulnerable populations, nursing homes, things like that. Criteria 5 is adequate healthcare capacity, hospitals, healthcare providers. That's pretty straightforward. Number 6 is an adequate supply of PPE, from masks to gowns and things like that. That's moving along okay. They're a little bit behind, but to get the 30-day supply, but they have more than 30-day supply for certain parts of certain elements of PPE, but not everything. But the state says the supply chain is stabilizing and it's becoming very close to getting there. And then number 7, which I think is a really interesting one, I think we're on the forefront of, but there's still a heck of a lot of guidance that needs to come out. Number 7 is the appropriate workplace safeguards, and they're developing protocols prepared for every sector in the industry, in the state, for various industries. And my assumption is that goes well beyond what we're doing here, from masks and social distancing. I think this is going to have to do with standards for cleaning and standards for sanitizing, things like that. And I think the bigger issue is not so much for a manufacturing company, but restaurants and retail and social spaces and sporting events and youth sports and things like that. So those are the 7 things. I think the visual that I have here that is showing where we stand with each of those. So I think we're well on our way, but I think the one that's going to hold this whole thing back, if it's not addressed differently, is going to be the available testing at 42,000 per week. So again, take a look at the news feed. We'll see how it goes. Once I get the links to the podcast that I was interviewed on earlier this week, I'll get that out to everybody as well. We're going to stay focused on here. I'm okay with some of the external stuff that Carol and I and the team are working on. It's good brand awareness, but I want to make sure we stay focused on what's really important, which is getting stuff out the door here on time. So reach out to me. Hope you're doing well. Have a great weekend, all you mothers out there. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. I know the weather is not going to be the best this weekend. It's not going to be as good as last weekend. And obviously with the social distancing and stay at home, it's not ideal. But we celebrate each and every one of you mothers and those that aren't mothers, your mothers. Careful how I say that. But yes, have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day, and we'll see you soon.